Make this your last incarnation. Do you wonder about making this the last incarnation when perhaps you don't even believe in reincarnation? Let's take a step back now to discuss more. Originally, spiritual consciousness came here wanting to understand more. Because of this desire, they entered into an agreement that was not readily understood because you simply don't know what you don't know. And here, I'll say it is the technicality of knowing what it means to be physical and how it feels to feel in this space. Deeply felt emotions from what was said, I understand that feeling when spiritually placed as opposed to when physically placed, is vastly different. I equate it to the deeply felt emotions that we seem to experience down to the core of our beings. I gather that how we feel, how humanity feels, is different from how we understood things to feel in the existence we knew before. The original purpose, we didn't know this when we originally embodied, when our soul originally wanted to come to experience some questioned understanding. It may have been a small question, not necessarily a grand consideration. Perhaps we wanted to know how it felt when smelling a rose in the early morning dew. Or maybe we wanted to know how it felt when giving gratitude while involved in some service to humanity. Or maybe it was something else. But how can you know what this or that is when you don't know what this or that means or equates to? It's like believing you know how it feels to run a marathon when you've never even run a regular race before. We have lost our way here as there is no recall of this thing that our souls once aspired to know. The elders term it as the original purpose, but it could also be called the greater purpose or the soul's purpose. Deceptive in its delivery, and so there was not a true understanding of the meaning behind the words used, as the meaning was understood differently from the awareness from which we came. And this is where their update gets quite interesting, because the elders share here that the agreement was deceptive in its delivery. I find this most intriguing because I asked specifically if they had wanted to use this word or another. I gave several options for different adjectives and they stayed resolute with what was initially given. If you know the elders as I know the elders, you will realize that they never use this sort of terminology. They never use any words but those to uplift. And so, using the word deceptive is a big deal. I realize this means there is more to the story and that right now, my mind could not conceptualize the more that does exist here. And so, I know that in time, this understanding will grow as I grow. My soul's original incarnation, my soul's original and first incarnation happened before recorded time. It was then that this group of beings known as the elders today came on a mission to save those who had already become trapped in the physicality in which they found themselves. Trapped and layered upon by previous experiences while in the body. But you see, my soul became trapped too in that initial incarnation. It was because it did not know that life and experiences would be so deeply felt. And so, my soul, too, has been a part of this earth experience for a time and more time. Last incarnation, the elders point out that there is no clause or stop measure that allows for a reset to be put into place. So, currently, there is not the ability to remember or regain the understanding that was lost as we moved further and further away from that original incarnation. There is no means in place to stop or remind what is in play today. In the distant future, the elders suggest that there must be a reset of what is underway so that those who are here can move beyond the looping incarnations in which they find themselves today. For to think of themselves as being from somewhere else is a once-upon-a-time tale. My dear friends, we love you so very much. Everything you have manifested in your life, intentionally or not, can be turned into something good. Even the most unwanted situations you have inadvertently allowed or attracted can be changed for your benefit. The fertilizer can grow roses. The illness can lead to an enhanced quality of life in the future, or bliss beyond reason in heaven. The ugliest relationship you've ever experienced can drive you more deeply into self-love. The death of a loved one can catalyze an entire spiritual journey and your own awakening to mystical abilities. Did you create this unpleasantness to catalyze your growth and lessons? Not really, dear ones. While there are cases when you and other souls decide to help each other grow in some tough ways, God never plunges you into darkness so you can find the light. The angels never guide you into challenging situations so you can find your strength. You, by your decisions to dance with other souls, and by your vibration attract and allow vibrational matches. It is that simple in concept. In reality, your most challenging job is bypassing old conditioning, which teaches you to act first. As you learn to shift your vibration first, your life will continue to progress with ever-increasing ease. Suppose you want a relationship. You feel desperate. You've wanted one for some time, and they're not here. You're emanating frustration, fear, doubt, and lack. You don't realize that you've tuned into the exact opposite of all you desire much of the time, and so, in your frustration, you join an online dating site and begin the hunt. At best, you will attract no one. You'll more likely attract others in a similarly frustrated space who want you to make them feel better. You found vibrational matches. Despite current frustrations, you can shift your vibration and turn this to good. You can tune back into love more consistently, focus on the delicious anticipation of the love you want to share, and, in so doing, change everything. Likewise, suppose that after years of stuffing feelings, criticizing yourself, or feeling upset, you develop an illness. You weren't given this illness to develop strength or to heal and help others. You just pinched off the love that was trying to flow to you on numerous small occasions, eventually taking a toll on the body. It is much the same as if you cut off the water to your plants 1,000 times a day, and eventually, it begins to wither. However, here is the good news. You can change your vibration to one of love. In that frequency, even the most serious illnesses can shift into a profoundly beautiful reality. A more difficult scenario is when someone you love dies or is going through a hard time. You didn't create their reality. You can't uncreate it for them. You came together in a mutual vibration of love and a desire for expansion and growth. Each of you has chosen, consciously or not, to attune to different realities and, therefore, create different outcomes. You don't control their vibration or their choices, and they do not control yours. So here you are, drawn together by love and a desire for expansion. Suppose you have tuned to love and created an easier path. Perhaps they were so hard on themselves that the only way to expand was to leave this brain and body behind and return to the glory of their soul. Perhaps they decided before birth to leave early and catalyze expansion for all. You have both grown. You have both expanded. You both love. But as a human being, you hurt. You miss them. We understand. Even this, dear ones, can be turned into good, gently, slowly, and organically. The more you can shift away from the unpleasant emotions by focusing instead on how much you love, how magnificent your love is, and how deeply you care, the more you will feel your connection with your dear ones in spirit. If you can appreciate the love in your own heart, you will feel their love for you. Likewise, when you have a friend or family member who is suffering, focus on your love, their light, and all that is good in life. You will become a strong, positive, energetic influence if you can do this. Your influence does not come from words or deeds but rather from you being in a space of confident belief in their goodness and eventual success. You become a tuning fork for their benefit. No matter how good or how challenging your life, tuning to love will shift reality and turn even the most difficult situation into good. Care about yourselves enough to reach for what feels better, one thought at a time, and in so being, you will create more good than all the doing in the world can do for you. God bless you. We love you so very much. The angels.